Welcome, everybody. Super excited for this episode. I know that we had talked about human design with Erica in season one, but we have another human design fairy godmother in the name of Allison Cullen. Hi, Allison.
Hi. Yay. I'm so excited. I'm so honored to be on y'all's show
We're
on
honored that you're on our show.
on season two and to talk about all the things because we're not just talking about human design.
I
It's going to be pretty good.
know. I know.
You know what you just said we talked about human design in season 1. We touched on it
Yes.
because we really talked about the other services that Erica provided, but then we did I don't know if you listened to it, and if you did, I'm so embarrassed.
I haven't yet. No.
Our amateur reading. Like when I first found out what human design was, and I was like, oh shit.
But we're not.
Christine, you got to hear this. And I was literally just reading it off of an app, but it was such an amateur, like mind blowing thing. So,
But we don't claim to be the experts.
no, but that's why I'm so excited to have you on to talk about it.
All right, so let's go into it.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
No, I don't either.
It's so
Do you want me to
vast.
just give an overview? Like
Yes.
a layman's terms overview. Okay. If you're listening and you're somewhat interested in either astrology or the Enneagram, buckle up because human design will be like so much, it'll change your world. Like it truly will. And I know that y'all are both like, Christine, you're a projector. Leah, you're a manifester.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just getting it in my head correctly.
And we're both
I'm a-
3/5s.
Oh. Okay.
Doesn't that
Okay.
make sense?
In a little bit, I might read the like overview of a 3/5 so people can see what the heck we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, human design is just a tool to have in your tool belt. It is a very good combination of doing psychedelic work and doing human design work. Like they both really help sort of to fast track the unlearning process, the deconditioning process, the process of. So my husband always makes fun. I mean, not really. He's a projector, FYI. So I've learned a lot with that. But he always makes fun of me. He's like, so you get paid to give people permission to be who they really are? What?
Shit.
And I'm like, yeah. And to give relief of that. But we're so taught. I mean, I'm turning 40 this year. So I was very much like that 80s baby, 90s kid who it's like you were put in this, you were just thrown into the hamster wheel. This is what you do. And I live in Texas. Like I'm from the Bible Belt. So there's a lot of deconditioning with like everything that I learned in church. And I still feel like some of them are truths for me, honestly. But so much crap that I had to get rid of and schooling and, you know, all of the different things. So human design really teaches you to how to get out of your head and your ego, like your mind ego, and get into your body. So what are y'all's authority types? Because that's the way that I like to describe that. Do you remember what your authority, like splenic, emotional?
I'm an emotional authority.
Okay, emotional.
Are you looking
Do you
yours up
remember,
real quick?
Christine?
Well, I'm looking right now.
So we can talk about the 5 types too, but like really learning your authority is your decision-making process in human design. And we're taught to use our brain for all of our decisions, and it should not be trusted
You're splenic.
Okay. Splenic. So spleen, to give you an example, your spleen is an organ in your body, and it's also a chakra center, a energy center in human design. And it is that like cat-like instinct that I wouldn't say that it's the same as like a maternal instinct. It's not everybody has this. It's that cat-like instinct of like, I smell a rat. Like this situation's not good. This person's not good. That kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's spleen. Yeah.
And it's interesting because a lot of my life I've had like certain like not trusted people or have had bad gut feelings about people where everyone else was like, they're great. They're amazing. I'm like, no.
You'll
we're
see.
not. You'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of times I thought that was like my trauma being able to,
Some could be,
sure.
but
And it's almost like I have to like wait to prove people right about others.
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. So that's the spleen.
Okay.
So Leah, you're emotional, right?
Yeah.
So you have a defined solar plexus. And what you sort of have to do is you're not going to have those like instant instincts. Even if you have a defined spleen, if you're emotional authority, you're really meant to make sure that you ride out your emotional waves before making a decision. So sometimes that might take 2 days for you to get out of that funk, or sometimes it might take an hour. But you want to make sure that you're in a place where you're very cool, calm, and collected before you say yes or no to something. Because there might have been times where you said yes to something, but you were in this like high state of like, I can do anything, you know? And then later on, you're like, well, shit, I shouldn't have said yes to that. So it's always okay for you to be like, hey, can I let you know in 3 days? Can I let you know in 2 days? I sort of want, so a term that us human design people say is like, can I take some time to run this through my wave, your emotional wave?
Oh, I am totally using that.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like really cool. I thought it just meant I made my decisions based on my emotions. And I guess that is not like what it means. I probably do that a lot. And I shouldn't be doing that. I should like sit and ride the wave of my emotions first.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, your emotions can be very magical, and it's good to feel the lows and the highs and the confusion of your emotions and to like process that all. But with big decisions, you want to wait till you feel really chill and neutral to then access the feeling.
So how did you get into this space? I want to start with that.
So I found out I was a generator. I think I was really early on pregnant with my now 3.5-year-old. So it was 4 years ago. It was like January or February 2019 that I started getting really into human design. I didn't take a class or anything like that, but I was like, getting all the information and applying it. And as a generator, there's a little less deconditioning that you have to do because we're raised in a generator world of like, go, do, create, don't, like all the things. Generators are very much meant to work a lot and create a lot and like always be on. So I didn't have a lot of like unlearning to do in that capacity, but at that time I was working in the music industry in Austin. I lived in Dallas, but all my clients were either in Austin or Nashville. And I worked in the country, the country music industry. Are y'all country fans?
No, but we were literally just having this conversation before you came on. So
because I was like, "Hey, have you heard that Morgan Wallen song?" Because I can't
all
get
over
it out.
TikTok.
I can't get it out of my head. Last night we let the liquor talk.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's all we know about. I mean, neither one of us are like country music, but I know the country music industry is huge.
Yeah. So I worked in that ever since I was 20.
Wow.
And so I was still a business manager in the music industry. I also was a business coach on the side, but I wasn't using human design in any of it. So found out about that, applied it to some of my work and started realizing like, oh my God, neither of these things light me up. And when you're a generator, your career's really important. Like being lit up by your career is really important. For projectors and manifestors, like you're a little bit more meant to be manifestor leader, like start things and then move on, start things and then delegate them to other people to move on. Christine, as a projector, you're very much meant to be a guide. So me, I'm meant to create all like keep going. Y'all are a little less energy. Y'all are non-energy beings, if that makes sense.
Like that.
And that's a good thing. And you get your energy from probably generators and MGs in your life. But I started applying a lot of these things and it was scary because I was like, well, shit, I'm not supposed to be working in the music industry. Like I'm not supposed to be doing this. And that was my life. Like that was my ego. Like I was very well known as the business manager in the music industry. That was like who Allison was. But at that time too, I was growing a baby and kept working. She came Earthside September 2019. I literally, like an hour after having her, looked up her human design. She's a reflector. I was like, shit, this is not good. And now I've learned a lot more about reflectors, but at that moment I just started crying and I was like, she's going to be so sensitive. I'm going to have to protect her from everything. Like, oh my God, because they have so in human design, you see like your map of your chakra centers.
Yeah.
And they're either colored in, defined, or they're white open. And so for a reflector, all of theirs are open, which just means they're very susceptible to other people's energies in each of those areas, whether it's other people's emotions, other people's ideas, other people's desires. And it can be a scary thing, Yeah. And so I have this little 1 hour old baby and I found out she's a reflector. And my husband, he knew he was a projector, but I hadn't started studying it and like really teaching him how to act as a projector. So he's like, why are you crying? Like, what is going on? And I'm like, she's a reflector. That's less than 1% of the population. And he's like, this isn't real. Like, what's going on with you? Like, you're delusional. So anyways, we come home. I start studying it more, but wasn't getting certified or anything yet. Had a lot of postpartum anxiety and depression, and it was just hard. Fast forward 6 months, March 2020 comes along. I had just been back to work for like 6 weeks, I guess, maybe like 5 or 6 weeks. March 2020 comes along, music industry shuts down, straight up. So I, thank God, was able to get on unemployment for that. And it was sort of this like, okay, let's check in like 3 months, let's check in 6 months and whatever. So at that time, we were living in Dallas in this house. My husband lost his job too. He works in the photo industry here. Okay. So we both lost our jobs. And it was scary, but none of us knew what was going on. We thought it was going to last 2 weeks. Remember when we were like, we'll just hunker down for 2 weeks. And I knew I have a defined spleen also. And I knew at the beginning of that, I was like, this is not like they're freaking out about something we shouldn't really be freaking out about. Like, I knew that it was all going to be okay. And that this was happening for more of a restructuring thing than actually like the virus, like I just knew that. But literally everyone in my life, when I would talk about that, was like, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you not freaking out? And I'm like, okay. So me and my daughter went down to Austin, basically moved in with my parents so that my husband, since he didn't have a job, we had always planned on renovating this house. So he just started tearing it down. He was like, well, if I'm not working, I might as well do this right now, Wow. So we lived apart for like 3 months, which was great because my mom was able to help with the baby. And I had extra time to get certified in human design. So I got certified in human design. In July 2020, we came back to Austin because daycare opened back up and all that kind of stuff. My music industry job was still nothing. But I came back here, utilized daycare, helped my husband with house renovations, and started my podcast in July 2020. And that was the end of it.
That's all she wrote.
Isn't that crazy?
And your podcast is that also, it's You Do Woo?
Yes, it had a different name. It was called Aligned Designs, which I created from my head, which was fine, but it's so not the vibe. And then in October 2021, I rebranded. Like, it just came to me, You Do Woo.
I love it.
It just came to me. It was crazy. And I was like, okay, is the Instagram open? Is the website open? And so I went and grabbed it.
That's how I was with See You on the Other Side. I was like, I remember I was on the treadmill walking and I texted Leah and I'm like, holy fuck, our podcast, See You on the Other Side. This is it.
And everything matched.
Oh my God.
When have y'all looked up the podcast Human Design?
What?
Huh? Yes.
You can
go look it up based on like the hour that your first episode came out. and see what it is.
Okay,
it's a different entity. Like mine is a manifester.
Thank you.
Podcast.
Leah now has another rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah.
Gracias.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. You know, I feel like I could be wrong, but like I'm so fascinated by this. I have like the app that tells you what you are, but I pay for it so I can tell other people what they are.
So you don't have to be certified to teach other people about human design. So like,
no, I send them on their way. I'm like, yes. Now that you know, go down these rabbit holes.
Now let me ask this, because there's like there's all these different things. Why did human design resonate with you so much?
Yeah, so I got into the Enneagram for a little bit.
I forgot about the Enneagram.
Do y'all know? I think I'm an 8.
Yeah, I think I'm an 8 too.
But I hated it and I wanted to be a 7. So you know what I hate about stuff like that? I think Enneagram's very valuable, but like you get to pick what you are, sort of, you know, like your mind could go and be like, well, I'm this. Well, in human design, it's like astrology where you put in your birth time and that's what you are. Like I know everybody, all of my clients who are projectors are like, oh, I don't want to be a projector. And then I'm like, yeah, you actually really do want to. Like, I'm jealous that you're a projector.
Why do you want to be a projector?
Because projectors are way more efficient than all the other types. You can get way more done in a smaller amount of time, as long as you're honoring your body and resting when you need to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Projectors are the new, so and Leah, manifestors are really awesome too. That's why I chose a manifester as my podcast. Like I picked the time, when I would create it was for that throat chakra energy. But manifestors were the old leaders, and then projectors are going to be the new leaders and the new paradigm.
Bow down, bitch.
Well, shit. No, I feel like we're pretty equal.
Yeah.
So yeah. Can you go into, oh, sorry, wait, you were talking about like Enneagram didn't really.
Yeah, I didn't really answer why this resonated. Okay. If you're listening, I'll give y'all the link to go look up the free chart and my free cheat sheets and everything. If you're listening and you go dive in, you'll know it immediately if this is a tool for you or not. It's not for everybody, but I mean, most people are like, oh my God. Like they resonate with it so much more than astrology and so much more than any of the other little, personality type tests. It's not just like your energy on a daily basis and how you work. It's how you interact with other people. It's how you use different aspects of your body. Like some people are very much meant to be more opinionated than others. Some people are meant to speak their truth more than others. Some people are meant to have their relationship with time. Like I do not like time pressure around me. I have an open root center, which means I really like when setting goals, it's way better for me to set like a quarterly goal than like a monthly goal, So it like really looks at every aspect of your life, not just like your personality. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Because I remember reading mine and my husband, his like strongest sense is touch. Mm-hmm. And at first I was like, that doesn't even make sense. Like you don't like to be touched. Like you don't like physical touch and affection. And then I start reading more into it and I was like, oh my God, like you have such major sensory issues because your touch is like your strongest sense. Like you like the way things feel versus the way they look. And that's never been an issue for me. So then it started making more sense. And one of the other things that can tell you, like the way that you digest food.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole aspect. I haven't even gotten certified in that part of it yet. I want to, but that's not like, I don't know. That's a whole other rabbit hole that's very valuable, too. So yeah, human design touches on it. So there's a combination between your energy centers, which 10 years from now, we'll actually have all of the technological capabilities to read people's energies. Like when you do like a EKG cardiogram or whatever, and like you can see the health of somebody's heart, you're going to be able to like see people's energy fields and the health of them and like where they're vibrating. Like it's just going to be a thing. We just haven't gotten, I mean, it's probably they have gotten there yet, but we don't use it on a daily basis, just layman people. But that is what human design is teaching you. It's a combination of like your DNA that you were born with. So there's a lot of DNA research that goes into this as well, combined with like the woo-woo of your energy field, which isn't going to be woo-woo anymore in 10 years, you know?
Ooh,
I love that.
But okay, one thing I did want to say, as far as the personality type deal, the part of the human design chart that sort of talks about your personality is your profile. Can I read y'all's, the 3-5?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the 3-5 is called the Martyr Heretic, but we also have a name for it. It's called the Great Life Experimenter. Have y'all heard that name for the 3-5 yet?
No.
Not like that. No.
Yeah. So the 3-5 is cool. So the 3-5 has an I don't need you attitude, but they're also very magnetic, relatable, and lovable. Everybody wants to know what the 3-5 is going through in real time, like the behind the scenes, right?
Shit.
Not afraid to call bullshit. You are meant to embrace the messiness of life. Life is a roller coaster. You sometimes see yourself as just figuring it out, but you're a catalyst for change and for other people to learn. You're sort of, instead of like being an authority, you're a little bit more taking people along for the ride, which is so true.
It's like, literally what we're doing.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I think that's why it blew my mind. I don't even remember what episode that was. It was in one of the first 10 episodes we did where I'm like reading this stuff and I'm like, we're literally doing this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like we're literally doing it. We're already living in our design. And I think one of the crazy things is, you know, I read one of my friends' human designs and she was like, that doesn't sound like me at all. And I was like, you know, if you had asked me 3 years ago, none of this would have sounded anything like me. But I am living in my design now. And I was doing it before I knew what human design was. So now everything that's on my chart, I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense now. Oh my God, that makes sense now. Like finding my voice, like that happened in the last 3 years. That was not a thing before. Like all of it.
Yeah.
It's weird. Or is it?
Yeah, I think so. There's a couple different things with, if you would have asked me before I turned 33, I don't think I would have resonated with as much of this stuff. At 33, so I'm a 6'2", I'm a hermit. So at 33 was when I actually started hermiting, and it changed my whole world, like for good. Before that, I was trying to be this social butterfly and like doing all the things. I was actually acting like an MG, like a super extroverted MG, and I was exhausted. I was honestly an alcoholic. I needed to like numb out because I was doing too many things.
So when you hermited up, you were like literally living your best life.
So I guess then if people don't necessarily resonate with their human design, it's probably because they are being, what do you call it? They're not self.
Probably. They might not, it depends on your profile.
Right.
A lot of, for a 3, y'all probably had a lot of shifts when you turned 30. So for 6s or 3s, your life is sort of divided into, well, more so for 6s, but that's sometimes when a lot of things happened is at the end of your Saturn return. You have a lot of shifts. So that's between ages 30 and 33, usually.
Holy shit.
That's so
How old are y'all
accurate.
now?
I'm 39.
I'm 35. I had to think about that.
Yeah. So that's a part of it too. But yeah, if you don't so I've only had like one person in my 3 years of doing human design chart readings that didn't resonate. And I think she was just so deeply conditioned. She was a network marketing gal, and she was just like following all the rules, not thinking for herself at all. I mean, honestly, she should do a little bit of mushrooms and like expand her mind some. But I think she was just like very much like good girl following the rules. I'm like, these people have what I want, so I'm going to go do exactly what they're doing. So I don't think she was open to it. That's a one person in the 500 or more human design readings that I've done that hasn't resonated. I think everybody will resonate with at least some aspects of their chart. And then the more you learn, the more you can sort of peel the onion layers and be like, okay, let me practice working on my spleen this month. Let me practice working on my ego heart center. In human design, the ego center is also called the heart center because it's more your ego of what truly intrinsically motivates you, not your like mind ego, if that makes sense. So sometimes that confuses people. But like as you work on the different aspects of your chart, you get to know yourself better in that way.
I think I'm obsessed with you.
I know.
Oh. You're obsessed with human design.
That too. Okay. So for our listeners who are like new to this, we don't have to do a deep dive, but like, I know that there are 5 energy centers, right? Is that what they're called?
Energy types.
Energy types.
5 energy types.
What are those energy types? And can you do like a brief description of each?
Yes. So let me start, Leah, with your type.
Okay.
Manifestors are about 7% of the population. These are throughout history who were like kings and queens, like the true leaders of our world. Very much meant to go start things and then have people to delegate stuff to, because you are not an energy being. Like you get your energy from other people. So manifestors a lot of times work a little bit more on a weekly basis than a daily basis. So it's like you have 1 or 2 days a week where you're on fire and get so much shit done. And then you need to rest or play the rest of the week.
That is so true. Because how many times have you like gotten notification after notification that I'm getting content done? Mm-hmm. It's all at once. It's never like spread out. I like have a day and I'm like, I'm going to do content today. Mm-hmm. And I just knock it all out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then your throat chakra is super important. So all manifestors have their throat chakra lit up. So speaking your truth and speaking and over communicating and over informing people is a really big deal.
You struggle with that.
I used to struggle with that. Now my husband would say, Jesus Christ, you're so fucking, not resilient, but like I push.
Yeah.
You're
like,
persistent.
Persistent. There you go. That's the word. He's like, you're so persistent. I'm like, yeah.
What type is your husband?
I think he's a manifesting generator.
Okay. If you want to send me y'all's partners charts, I can like give you a few little tips too.
Yeah.
Totally. I want to do some like one-on-one work with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Christine, you're a projector. So projectors are about 20% of the population, and projectors in this, so when I say new paradigm in human design, there's this like very, very woo-woo concept that we're in 2020, we started the deconditioning process. In 2027, it will be finalized. I think there's some astrological stuff to this too. I'm not an astrology buff, so I don't know. But in human design, 2027 is the new paradigm. So we're halfway through almost. So this is good. Projectors are the new leaders in this new paradigm. You are not meant to like create a ton or work, do. You're meant to like sort of guide people through their process.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like I've always been kind of a big picture person. So I hate like focusing on small
details,
minuscule details. Yeah. And I like the big picture and like knowing that there's movement. But sometimes I think I'm a very good listener. So sometimes I think I struggle with being able to vocalize what I'm seeing for big picture stuff.
Yeah. And that's a wonderful reason to have Leah as a partner, because you sort of see things from a higher perspective than Leah, but Leah can like vocalize it and get into the details and go make it happen or find people to make it happen. You know?
Shit.
It's a great partnership. projectors work a little bit more on a daily basis, but you're only supposed to work for like 2 or 3 hours a day.
I can fuck with that very, very easily.
Yeah. So that's like, and for people who are projectors who are maybe working like 40 to 60 hour work weeks right now, here's how I've fixed this for my husband, because my husband's a projector. He worked in the photo industry, which is like 10 to 12 hour days, you know? And so what he had to do was a little bit play around with it. So he was working full time before. And then once he learned that he was a projector, I was like, get real picky about who you work for. And he started raising his rates. And now he works 5 to 10 days a month. And then he can rest all the other time.
So my fiance is a projector, and he is literally a workaholic.
Yeah, he's going to have to decondition from that. But you can help him.
But luckily, he has quit his corporate job, and he's starting his own business. He's literally like in the next 2 weeks going to be done with corporate world. So
yeah, projectors are meant to be their own boss. Manifestors and projectors, for different reasons, are meant to be their own boss, for sure.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense, because we've always been our own bosses, and neither one of us came from the corporate world. I was like, nah, I don't do that shit.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I thought it was my ADHD, but
you're like, nah, it's because you're a projector.
Yeah.
All right, so projector, manifestor.
Reflectors, I'll just touch on real quick because there's probably not a ton listening.
I only know one.
Yeah.
My aunt.
Yeah, I don't know any.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reflectors are less than 1% of the population.
Wow.
They are considered lunar beings, so they work a little bit more on a monthly basis. Women work on a monthly basis too, but reflectors are really on a monthly basis. Like they definitely need to have like some kind of app looking at where the moon is and how they feel around a full moon versus a new moon and all that kind of stuff. Reflectors are legit meant to be our mirrors. So I get to have my child be my mirror in 2 ways. It's not cool at all. And I just had a reflector on one of my podcast episodes. If y'all ever want to have a reflector on, she's amazing. Her name's Anastasia Jones. And
I saw that.
She taught me a lot about reflectors, that they're the most repellent of types because they bring out in you things that you don't want to see, that you have to look at. Like they're legit a mirror. Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, I go to my aunt a lot. You know this.
Uh-huh.
Like she's like my mom to me.
Right.
She's like the one person I go to for like everything, which is wild. Yeah. She's the only reflector I know. Interesting.
So group wise, it's really cool. Like if you have a team or a group or whatever, it's really cool to have a reflector in every group because they can sort of reflect back the health of the group and the health of society and all of that. So a lot of reflectors in the past have become sort of recluse. Like they go off, like Sandra Bullock's a reflector. She is not out in the, like she does her thing and then she's like a recluse, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. I don't know. But in the new paradigm, reflectors are much more meant to be active in the community and be constantly mirroring the health of the community. So go find yourself a reflector friend because they're very, very valuable.
All right. Any listeners, reflectors,
we
hit
need
us
you on
up.
our team.
Let's hang out.
Yes. And reflectors can have a lot of energy. They are also non-energy beings, but they always attract people to them. And like my daughter is one of the most extroverted little human beings ever. Like she has a ton of energy. The other 2 types, manifesting generators. So mani-gens are a mixture between manifestors like Leah and generators like me. They sort of like have 2 people living inside of them, and it just depends on the day what they feel more like. So mani-gens and generators make up 70% of the population. So most of y'all's listeners are probably mani-gens or generators. And these people are the energy beings. So we provide energy for the rest of the world if we're doing something that lights us up. So, and y'all, is the app that you have Jenna Zoe's app, the My Human Design app?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So she's my mentor. I've taken a couple other certifications too, but she's my main human design mentor. She makes it so easy to understand. So that app is great. So she says that the reason that our world's so fucked up and unhappy is because all of the generators and mani-gens, not enough of us are doing things that light us up. So it's our fault.
You know, so my husband last summer had this epiphany that he hates his job. And I've been telling him that for like years. And he is completely switching career paths, starting law school next month. Went from like coding to like law school. And he, like, when he talked about it, he was like, I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to go to law. And so now I'm like, holy shit, he's going to be like doing something he loves for the first time in his entire life. I'm so excited for him to do that. But you're exactly right. Like, he was really great at his job. Like, he's been a coding manager for as long as I've known him, but like didn't love it.
Yeah.
Good at it, but wasn't great, but wasn't.
Same.
Yeah.
Same for me.
Wild.
And a lot of people a lot of generators and MGs already pivoted between March 2020 and now. Even more are going to be doing so between now and 2027.
Look at our husbands doing the work. Shit.
And it will affect y'all so much. When I started doing this work, my husband got so much more energetic. He was able to stop taking ADD medication. He started eating better. He started taking care of himself. And I didn't ask him to do any of these things. It's just because I, as a generator, started doing something that lit me up. So my husband, who's non-energy being, who gets his energy from me, started being healthier.
Wow. That's wild.
That is wild.
And how, like, you guys are both projectors, but like when one person starts living in their design, it kind of like pushes. Wow. Okay.
And I never really thought of it in that way.
No.
Okay.
Human design's trippy.
It's deep.
No wonder why it's like mushrooms.
Okay. Yeah. Help us relate this back to psychedelics and so. I mean, it sounds like, the first experience I ever had kind of brought me closer to myself. So I do feel like it's been this journey of like figuring out who I am, what I need, what's best for me in both avenues. So
the way I would compare it is just purely with brain rewiring. Because, like psilocybin rewires your brain. Even if you just take the capsules and you don't even do a big trip or you don't even feel it, like it is working on your brain. And the main thing that it is doing, and many of the psychedelics do this, but the main thing that it's doing is decalcifying the pineal gland, right? Which is not a woo-woo thing. It's an actual little, I don't remember do y'all know how big it is in your brain? It's like really small.
I think it's tiny.
It's a small little gland in your brain, and it produces DMT. So we already have DMT going, that's meant to be going through our body in small amounts. So, right. But that little gland is what then goes and monitors how much melatonin your body is creating. So it affects your sleep. It affects your immune system. It affects like just clarity. Melatonin, y'all can go Google this. It has way more jobs to do than just putting us to sleep. Like there's a ton. And the pineal gland's in charge of melatonin and it's in charge of DMT too. These, like, we calcify our pineal gland in a lot of ways. Toxin buildup, fluoride, drinking water that has fluoride in it. That's a whole other thing because Cam's like, so you think it's a conspiracy theory, like that the government tries to put fluoride in water? I'm like, well, yeah, because it makes you not think for yourself because it calcifies your pineal gland. It makes you just be a little robot,
Shit.
So yeah. So we have a Berkey filter, and then I put minerals back in the water, put like electrolytes or minerals back in the water.
We drink electrolytes every day. Yeah.
Yeah. So filtering your water, not using fluoride in your toothpaste, not letting dentists use fluoride on you, like all that kind of stuff. And then doing things differently than you do every day, like can help decalcify your pineal gland. Any type of, we'll talk about it here in a little bit. Combo is a jump start for decalcifying your pineal gland. But the reason you want to do this is because when your pineal gland is clear, that is when whatever you call it, God, source, creativity, love, can then access your brain to give you ideas, to give you new outlooks, to give you a new perspective. Seeing one thing that you would have seen 10 years ago and now you see it in a different way. Yeah. That's why you need your pineal gland clean. And human design can help you do that because it makes you question everything. And not in like a paranoia way. It's like okay, well, I've been doing this. Maybe if I change, then I'll have a better outcome,
And it is like with psychedelics, because I felt like I was putting all of these like puzzle pieces together on why I did the things that I did, but it wasn't necessarily my authentic self when making those decisions. It was trauma, it was programming, it was ego, it was what, got taught to me, like, no, you do this because if you do this, you're good, and if you don't do this, you're bad, or. Yeah.
I do want to say this because I have two friends and I don't know what energy type this is or if it's like their profile types. I'm not sure, but neither one of them have stuck with one thing. They are always jumping from one thing to the next, like different hobbies, different like little career paths, and they're not good at one thing and they beat themselves up for it. And I remember reading whatever it was in their human design charts that was like, you're not meant to do one thing. And I feel like that alone is like validation. And you're like, oh, okay. So people like me are supposed to exist because everything lights me up and I get something from everything. And I'm not meant to be that person who sticks with one thing.
Yep.
I feel that way a little bit because I feel like, you're somebody who really goes down like these rabbit holes.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily resonate with me. I like learning a little bit about a lot of things. But there have been times where I'm like, should I like be better at this or should I like, you know what I mean?
No, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get so mad because I'm like, why doesn't everybody go down these rabbit holes? And my husband is like, Leah, not a lot of people do what you do. Like that's like your thing. So it's wild.
They're probably Manny-gens. Those, let me know after you look up their charts. But a lot of times Manny-gens can have that, like, what's wrong with me? I never finish anything that I start. And
They are.
Yeah.
They both are. Shit. Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
So then can we go over, is it the personality types? Like, because
those are the 3 5s and the 6 2s and stuff. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's there's 12 different profiles, so that would take a little while. But on the cheat sheets, the free cheat sheets, I'll give y'all to share with your listeners. There's an episode for every single one. I have 12 episodes.
Perfect.
So we can literally go and listen to one like for 3 5s, listen to one for 6 2s.
I love that. Okay, cool. I'm going to do that today.
Okay. That'll give our listeners some homework too, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to hear about your combo experience.
Yes.
And this is one we know like nothing
Did you
about.
Say combo? Cambo, right?
My practitioner calls it combo, but she's also from Africa, so I don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
It's
Good to know.
Kambo. So I'll say combo, y'all can say cambo, same thing, whatever.
Tomato.
So yeah, I've listened to y'all's episodes where you talked about your ayahuasca experience. I have not yet done Aya, but I have heard that Aya is the feminine medicine and Combo's the masculine medicine. If anybody doesn't know that yet. Apparently that's the situation. And combo is also a medicine from South America, but it's not from a plant. It is from a frog. So and I'll send you guys all of the correct information is on a website, I think called IAKP. I'll send that to y'all. If people are interested, you can also find a certified practitioner through there. Don't just get anyone, because I'm going to explain how this works, and you don't want just anyone doing combo on you, because it's not meant to be something that's put into your bloodstream. It's only meant to go into your lymph system.
So quick reference, this is not the same thing as 5-MeO-DMT. Like, this is not toad.
Nope.
Okay. But it also comes from a frog.
Yep. Very different.
Okay.
Yeah. I have not done that, and I'm not done. I think my sister said there's something called bufo.
Bufo is 5-MeO-DMT.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is not bufo.
Okay.
It's a certain type of frog, and they get a secretion from it in a very like the frog comes to them. The frog wants this to happen. Like it's not painful or anything. It's this big ceremony that they get, I think, the secretion from the frog, and then the frog lives and goes on. But like the frog comes to you, and it's weird because the second you decide that you are going to do combo, you start seeing frogs. Like, it's weird.
That's like with mushrooms. You start seeing mushrooms everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So the frog will come to you. This might be the first way the frog's calling you. So there's a they call it a poison, but it's a secretion. It's not going to kill you. And then in the actual ceremony, there's actually 3 parts to the ceremony. You don't have to do all 3 parts, but I think it enhances it. So first you do hape, which is the tobacco, which very much opens your pineal gland and it grounds you. Combo, maybe it's considered a psychedelic. You don't have really a psychedelic experience. You don't see things. But it can be ungrounding because some people purge, like throw up. So first you do hape, which is the tobacco smoke. And that is meant to ground you and open your pineal gland. That was intense. Like my sister does hape often it can give you energy and feels really nice. It's a lot of it for the combo ceremony. And so I was like, whoa, hold on a moment. Like I needed sort of 45 minutes to let that pass. It almost feels like you're underwater, like sucking in water. It's not a pleasant experience, but then once it sets in, you feel like your whole body is buzzing and it's very pleasant. But it's sort of like, I was like, I'm not ready to start like chugging water and throwing up just yet. Like, give me a moment. So I chilled out after that. And then in order to do combo, you have to drink like 1 to 2 liters of water in like 10 minutes. That's the hardest part. Just FYI.
We're over here like complaining about our gallon for the day.
Oh my God. It is, the first half, you're like, okay, I got this. And then you're like, I can't drink anymore. And so our shaman made us stand up, and she's like, you got to stand up. It's got to like move into your body. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was hard. That was a hard part.
Peeing for days.
Literally.
Right. So you do that, and then the practitioner will come and put some artificial burns on your skin. Usually for the first time you do it, you get like 4 or 5 gates, they call it. It's just these tiny little dots that are burned into your skin. You can't even see mine anymore. Like it doesn't create a true scar. Like it's very superficial. And I didn't even feel her doing the burn. So if anybody's scared of burning, like it's not a big deal. And then she'll put the actual frog secretion on you. It takes about 30 seconds for it to start. I know with Aya, it takes a while, right? This takes 30 seconds to start.
Holy shit.
So what's crazy, I've only done it twice. We're getting ready to do it a 3rd time because you're supposed to do it 3 times within a moon cycle to get the most results. The first time you do it is physical detoxification. The second time you do it is mental and emotional detoxification. And the third time is ancestral DNA clearing. So like I come from a very long line of German alcoholics and people who like severe depression, suicide, abuse, like all that. And I'm like, dude, this third time, Kali, who's our practitioner, was like, your third time's going to be interesting because you have like just being German heritage. There's a lot of trauma that I'm ending now by doing this. So that's that.
Wow.
So within 30 seconds, I felt it. And what it feels like is it's going through your lymph system. So you can feel it racing through your body and it'll stop at different parts. It is nuts. Like, it's like the frog is so very smart. And I'm sure like y'all sort of described Aya this way, like it always knows what to work on for that session, you know? So the first session, I have always had like IBS. And we're trying to get pregnant for baby number 2. And so the first time I felt it scan my whole body. It's like it went through every part of my body and then it landed in my stomach. And it was like, I think fixing my IBS. It was like fixing my, like clearing my womb, healing all of that kind of stuff. And I threw up a lot, but it's not a, you know, when you throw up, when you like have the stomach flu and you're like, afterwards, you're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. So it's sort of like that. During the 20 minutes, you don't get a whole lot of relief. It's just like throwing up, but it doesn't bother you. Like I hate throwing
Same
up. But
thing with ayahuasca.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother you. It's not like like your throat like really burned. It's almost like
it felt good to do it.
Yeah. It's like a necessary purge. And I think that's where like a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to throw up. I don't want to throw up. I'm like, yeah, but it's not like when you're sick and you don't feel good or you got too drunk or whatever. I'm like, it's very different. And you're
feels like a release.
You're equating it to that, but it's almost like, it's like a much needed release. Like it didn't smell at all.
Yeah. Well, this was straight up the water that I had just
True.
All that water.
Good point.
Yeah. So she also has you not eat or drink anything for 12 hours before so that you're not throwing up food.
Yeah.
And not throwing up food isn't actually bad. Like just throwing up water isn't really bad. And not alcohol. I mean, I've thrown up alcohol many times and it's terrible. So this is the best throwing up you'll ever have.
Best experience.
And some people don't throw up. Like my sister's done it twice and she just shakes. So to purge, she just like shakes. Some people shake, some people sweat. Me and my husband both definitely threw up. So you do that. And then the second they wipe it off of your skin, it stops. It just stops immediately. And you feel immediate relief. Then you chill for a little while. And then if you want to do the eye drops, she'll do the eye drops. So it's called Sananga.
We did that.
We did that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that scared me because sometimes if you do it super intense, you can feel like blind for 10 minutes. That wasn't the case. It just hurt like a jalapeno in your eye.
It hurts like a fucking bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, you know, it goes away. And that apparently is one thing that really opens your third eye, and cleans up your pineal gland. So that's the process. That's the 3-step process of a combo ceremony. And then you can do it again 2 different times within that month for the full effect.
How long did they leave the combo on your skin? Like how long was that experience?
20 minutes.
Oh, so really not.
So from
not too
start to finish, like you're done in a few hours?
Yeah. She came to our house at 11 a.m. and was gone by 12:30 both times.
So you did it at your house?
Yes. Some practitioners have it at their house. She lives in Fort Worth and we're in Dallas. So she came to us. She sometimes charges a little bit more for that, I think. But it's sort of nice to have it at your house because then you can just go to your bed after and chill. Like you don't feel bad, but you're like a little bit tired and you just, I don't know, it felt like how I feel. You sort of feel like you just did MDMA or something. Like you're like, just really chill.
Just down. Like you don't want to do anything.
We need to do this.
I know.
Okay, so we're going to find somebody. Yes. So if somebody knows of anyone or you are that person,
I wonder
hit
if
us up.
person we were going to do Hape with
No, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, totally.
Does that too. We should ask.
So talk about the after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So apparently this always is the case. The next day you have more energy than you've ever had in your entire life. It's just like a reset. I was doing it. My main reasons, I'm like a psychonaut. I love trying anything and everything. So I was doing it for experimenting.
Down for whatever.
Ever since I had COVID, I've had heart palpitations. And so that's a thing they're finding out now is like whether you got the shot or you actually had COVID, those antibodies and those spike proteins are affecting our cardiovascular system. So one of my friends told me that combo is a great way to just like nip that and like be done with it. Haven't had a heart palpitation since doing it. What? My husband did it ever since he had COVID, he has had high blood pressure. So he did it for that. He hasn't been having to take his blood pressure medication, and he didn't know that this was going to be a situation. We're in Texas. He always has seasonal allergies, like terrible. March and April, he's like on Claritin D all the time. Hasn't had to take it all month. No allergies. He's 42. He's had allergies his entire life.
What are the legalities of combo?
It is legal in most states. At Texas, it's legal. So it's legal in most states. It's not considered a psychedelic.
Yeah, because you're not really going into like your subconscious.
Mm-mm. It's just a clean out. It's a cleaning out.
Wow. Okay. We should do this after spring
legal.
break. It's legal here in Kentucky?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is so interesting.
All right.
Yeah, we're doing this.
Oh, totally.
Okay, well now my question to you is like, what have you done? Like, let's talk a little bit about psychonauts here.
Yeah. So Aya's on my list. I have not. I was going to do it. My sister is part of a community in Austin that does it 2 or 3 times a year. And she invited me, but I was pregnant. I had a miscarriage in December, so I wasn't able to do it. You're not supposed to do it pregnant. I'm sure people in the world do, but I think you're not supposed to do it pregnant. So I'm going to sign up for doing it in June with her. So long as I'm sort of like, if I get pregnant, I want to be able to like hand it off to my spot off to someone else. So that's the one thing that I really want to do that I haven't done. I have been microdosing mushrooms for 3 years now.
Wow.
I think I started a little bit after I had Caroline. And I've done a couple of bigger trips, but they were more for fun. I haven't done one like to really go deep. Because when I started getting really, really into all of this was October. Like I've been microdosing for 3 years, but like it was like last September or October where I feel like everything came online where I was like, I want to try all these things. And then I got pregnant. I was like, shit. So anyways, right after I had my miscarriage, my husband and I did MDMA. Oh my God.
The best.
We had been in marriage therapy since before we got married. And I'm like,
so much fucking
time did we waste? Money and time when 4 hours of an MDMA hangout, and we didn't do anything. We just laid in our bed. I mean, our child was being kept by her grandparents, so thank you, Mom and Dad. Like it was amazing.
Thanks, Mom and Dad, so we could do drugs. like literally,
and they knew that too. Cam was like, "Your parents are so cool."
Like, your parents are super cool.
But we almost got to a point a few times where we talked about divorce. Honestly. Like we went through a hard, rough patch the past 3 years, and we weren't great to start with. We were those like toxic people that fought all the time. And we've done 3 sessions now, and we're like, oh my, like you just see like your amygdala turns off, right? So the defense, fight or flight, resentments,
gone. You know, I swear, I think it's like one of the things, I mean, a lot of things saved our marriage, but I remember asking for a divorce before I did mushrooms. And then when I came out of my first heroic journey, I was like, no, I still want a divorce. Like that didn't change. If anything, it solidified it for me. And one of our last resorts, this was his idea. He found an article that was talking about how MDMA helps save marriages. And I'm telling you, before my mushroom journey, I was very anti-drugs. And I think
MDMA is not a drug.
Doing
it's
it
so good.
Was like
so good.
When after doing that, I kind of like opened my mind to all these other things. So he was like, he came to me and he was like, listen, you don't have to do this, but I got us some MDMA and I found this article and I was like, okay. And I think he was shocked that I was like, all right, let's fucking do it. And I remember that first time I was like, oh, dude, we're doing this twice a year.
Right?
At least. Yeah. Like this is like my birthday, anniversary.
Yeah.
Like it's such a way to connect in like kind of what you were saying. It's not even like the sexual part of it. That's like just a bonus. It's the being able to talk about things without being defensive, without being angry, like having these really difficult, hard conversations and being there for each other through them. That's like the best part for me.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because everybody knows that I've tried all these different things. I've done ketamine therapy. That was helpful too, but man, MDMA is just a special thing. And like, I think sometimes people get scared about like ketamine or Aya or combo or mushrooms even. And with MDMA, I'm like, this is not scary.
No,
like,
you don't
please
have to
everybody
prepare.
do it.
Right.
It's funny though, because I will bring up, you know, if people come to me and they're really struggling with their spouse or partner or whoever, I will say, you should really think about like doing MDMA together. And people are like ecstasy?
No, it's not the same thing.
I know, but they're like, I mean, I did that like in college or whatever. I'm like, it's
totally
not
different.
the same thing. There's just still this like stigma with this stuff, and I'm like, it could literally save your marriage.
Now I
Just
can also
have a better
see
understanding of each other.
like, you know, Jason did it a lot in college to party, never one-on-one with someone, my husband. I can see how that could be a completely different experience, like going to a club. I kind of like, I'm like you, like I kind of want to experience that.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
But
totally.
also this is our like connection drug. Like this is our love drug, literally.
Yeah. And like there was some funny Instagram reel that came out about like a fake pharmaceutical ad for parents that said, I need a fucking break. and I was like, this is that for parents or anybody, but like for sure parents need to be doing this like 3 times a year.
Literally.
Yeah. You should look into 2CB.
Okay.
It's a psychedelic that's similar to MDMA.
Yeah. Like what? Cool. Like you get the visuals of psilocybin, but then you also get like the
body feeling,
the body effects, the body high of MDMA.
So it's actually like you can pair them together, like MDMA and 2CB.
Oh, we're gonna send her down a rabbit hole.
I know.
There we go.
Yeah.
My husband's gonna be like, oh my gosh, who did you talk to today?
Well, and you can do, because like you want to take breaks with the MDMA.
Yeah.
With 2CB, you can like, there isn't that risk. Like you can do it more frequently.
Yeah, I think for anybody who's wanting to try out MDMA, I would say make sure that like 3 days before and 3 days after you take 5-HTP, because it helps build back up your serotonin. You can feel a little bit of a hangover feeling if you don't do that, because it depletes your serotonin. It basically dumps all your brain serotonin, which is a wonderful feeling, but you want to make sure you're building it back up. I didn't have any issues the first 2 times I did it because I was very vigilant about the 5-HTP, which is legal at your grocery store or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then the 3rd time that I did it, I didn't put that, and I felt a little bit hungover the next day.
I just get so tired.
I was going to say it's like a hangover, but like without the body hangover type. For me, it's like a mind hangover. Like I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to parent. I don't want to run errands. Like I just want to chill in my pajamas the entire rest of the day, which I'm like, that doesn't sound that bad, honestly.
Yeah. It's good to do every once in a while.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, those are the things I've done. MDMA, ketamine, which I've done through a company called Mind Bloom, which is legal in most states, I think. Psilocybin. What else did I? Oh, combo. So Aya's on my list. Should anything else be on my list?
LSD.
Yeah. Okay. That can be on the list
I've tried to describe this for people before, and I know that I'm still going down my like bucket list of items, but for me, and DMT. I've said MDMA feels like love. Psilocybin feels like home. DMT feels like heaven. LSD feels like childhood, like a good childhood.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? Ayahuasca feels like mother. Mm. And out of all of them, I feel like that's like the best descriptor I could think of. So.
And I've never done like a larger dose of LSD, but I actually like microdosing LSD a lot more than I like microdosing mushrooms.
Cool.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So
LSD, you know what's
DMT.
crazy? Ever since doing combo, when I microdose, when I do my microdose of psilocybin, I do about 0.2 in the lemon and then let it sit for 20 minutes and then chug it. And ever since I've done combo, my microdosing days, which I do like 3 days a week, feel like mini MDMA sessions.
Oh, shit.
They're like potent in a beautiful way.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're doing this shit.
Yeah, we totally are. When we get back. Seriously.
Yeah. No, seriously, we'll do it. Thank you. Oh my God.
I like am in love with you.
We need to hang out. Like, can we do Aya together or like hang out and do a LSD?
How far is Dallas from Kentucky? I don't think we're that far away.
A fucking minute.
Like it's like 6 hours maybe.
Oh.
Longer than that? Really? Okay, I could be wrong. I don't know.
I would say way longer.
Yeah, we're going to hang out. That's all I have to say.
Or y'all could come down to Austin. I have a house in Austin, so.
Yeah, we'll come to Austin.
Perfect. I've always wanted to go to Austin.
We'll do that. All right, we'll make this happen. For our listeners, how can they find you? I need you to plug your stuff, plug your podcast. It's been so good to talk to you, but I want everybody else to like also have access to you.
Totally. Send me a DM and say hi. I'm on Instagram at YouDoWoo, YOUDOWOO. And that's my podcast name too. That's the best place to get a hold of me.
Love it. Thank you, Allison, for everything. I love you. I love her energy.
I know. I do too.
We're going to do drugs together.
And I really do want to do a one-on-one with you. I would love that.
Yeah, that would be so fun.
Yeah,
okay.
we can do that.
We can do a combined one with y'all too if you want to.
Let's do it.
Totally.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
This has been so fun. Thank y'all for having me.
Of course. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.